horizontal and vertical stretches and compressions using the x squared function. And we really want to focus on this function y equals a f of bx, because this is how basically any function, not just the x squared function, can be written, where a is a leading coefficient on the outside of the function that's being multiplied, and b is a coefficient on the x value that's inside of the function. So if you are changing the a value, what you're doing is you're actually doing a vertical stretch or a vertical compression. If you are changing the b value, which is on the x variable, you're doing a horizontal compression or horizontal stretch. We can see that those things sort of look, very similar. If I start changing a on the x squared function and I make it larger, so I have 2, you can see the function up here is f of x equals 2x squared. I am having a vertical stretch. I went from this basic quadratic x squared to now it increasing the x value or the y values by 2 times what they were before. And you can see the sides have came in, which would be a horizontal compression, but the sides are coming in because you're grabbing the top of these two arrows, or you can think of them as like a string, and pulling upwards. So it's a vertical stretch. Anytime you change the a value, you get a vertical stretch. Now we're going to look at the b value. So the b value acts similarly. So if I move the a value back to 1 and then change the b value, as I change the b value, you notice that, basically the same image gets printed again. This one's a little steeper than the previous one, but it's still vertically stretched, but it horizontally compressed here. And they would consider this a horizontal compression because you are affecting the b part of the function. You're changing the x values as they come in. And the easy way to see that is to look at the equation. And that's the only way really to get this basically every time. You start with y equals, for the first one we had 2x squared when we were changing a. For this one we are getting 2x squared. What's the difference between the two? Well, there's not a lot of difference, except for this 2 is being multiplied times the original function x squared, whereas this 2 is not being multiplied times the original function. It's actually just being multiplied by x. So anytime you have a value that's being multiplied to the whole original function, that's going to be a vertical stretch or vertical compression. And anytime you have a value being multiplied just to the x value, that's going to be a horizontal compression or horizontal stretch. The easy way to tell is, am I multiplying inside the parentheses? Yes. Then that means horizontal. If I'm not multiplying inside the parentheses, then it's going to be vertical.